Hello, everyone. In this lecture, I am going to explain line by line the famous poem Because I Could Not Stop for Death by Emily Dickinson. But before I explain it, if you're new to my channel, then please like and subscribe the channel. Well, before I start it line by line, let me tell you the background of this poem, then you'll be able to understand it. Basically, the central theme of the poem is death and the journey toward eternity. Emily Dickinson personifies death as a gentle, courteous suitor who takes her on a carriage ride toward the afterlife. This poem reflects on the inevitability of death and the transition from life to eternity. It also explores the idea that death is not something to be feared, but rather a natural part of existence. Let's start line by line. Because I cannot stop for death. This is the beginning line of this poem. It means that the poetess Emily Dickinson is saying that she was too busy in her daily life to think about or prepare for death. In other words, you can say that she couldn't stop her activities to acknowledge mortality. I think you are not getting the point. Simply, it means that she did not stop her activities of life in order to think about death. There must be a question in your mind that what she wants to convey. The simple answer is that she wants to invite readers to view death not as something to fear, but as a natural and gentle part of life. So we should not stop our activities for it, and we should move on in life. And then says, "He kindly stopped for me." Here in this line, death is personified as a considerate, a person who takes the initiative to approach her. Simply, it means that the she is saying that although she was too busy to think about dying, and then death graciously came to her and offered to take her on a journey. This portrayal makes death seem less scary and more like a natural kind of event. In other words, you can say that here in this line, the pronoun, he refers to the death, and she says that death came to her and waited for her. The carriage held, but just ourselves. In this line, the word carriage refers to the vehicle transporting her from life to the afterlife. Simply, it means that she imagines taking a personal trip with death in a carriage that carries only the two of them. In other words, you can say that she is saying that the death came with a carriage and stopped for her to carry her from this life to afterlife. And then says, an immortality. In this line, the word immortality signifies that the carriage journey includes not only her and death, but also immortality. This suggests that the journey transcends mortal life to an eternal existence beyond death. By including immortality as a passenger, Dickinson emphasizes that death is not an end, but a transition to a timeless afterlife. In other words, you can say that the carriage did not only include her in death, but also immortality, which is something that cannot be vanished by death. So it is a journey from temporary life to eternal life. And then says, we slowly drove. He knew no haste. In this line, Dickinson challenges the common perception of death as sudden or frightening. Instead, she presents it as a serene and considerate journey, emphasizing the idea that death is a natural part of life and not something to be feared. In this line, he knew no haste, means that death is personified as a courteous companion who is in no haste. He takes his time to take her from this life to the afterlife gently and slowly. And I had put away. This means that she has stopped her usual activities and concerns. Simply, you can say that death stopped for her, and she also stopped her daily work and leisure activities to join him on a journey. This act of putting away symbolizes that he left behind the routines of life to embark on the path toward the afterlife. To put it simple, it means that she is saying that she stopped her activities and death patiently waited for her. My labor and my leisure too. Now in this line, she says that she has set aside both her work and her free time to join death on this journey. The word labor refers to work, and the word leisure means free time activities. This act of putting away all aspects of her life emphasizes the totality of the transition from life to death, indicating that she has left behind all earthly activities and concerns. Both work and play are abandoned. Actually, it shows a complete separation from all aspects of mortal life. This line underscores the totality of her departure from worldly activities, and then says, for his civility, it means that she appreciates death's politeness and courteousness, portraying him as a gracious companion. This personification challenges the conventional portrayal of death as grim or terrifying. Simply, you can say that she is saying that she set aside her work and leisure activities because death was so polite and courteous to her. This portrayal presents death not as something to fear, but as a gentle and considerate guide, making the transition from life to the afterlife a calm and respectful experience. Hear the word. Civility means politeness. We passed the school where children strove. At recess, in the ring, it means that as she and Death were going in a carriage and they came across a school where in the break children were playing games and busy in physical activities. At recess, in the ring, means that during their break time, the children were playing in a circle. It means that she and Death are passing by scenes that represent different stages of life. The school with children symbolizes childhood, a time of learning and growth. By mentioning this, she reflects on the early phase of life during her journey toward death. So, in simple terms, it means that she's recalling the stage of childhood as she moves with death, highlighting that their journey encompasses the various phases of human life. We pass the fields of gazing grain. In this line, she describes a scene where she and Death travel together in a carriage. As they proceed, they pass by fields of grain that appear to be gazing. Basically, this means they're moving past cultivated fields of grain that seem to be attentively observing their journey. We pass the setting sun. It means that as they travel together in a carriage, they move past the setting sun. However, in the context of the poem, this line symbolizes the transition from life to death, with the setting sun representing the end of her life. And then says, or rather, he passed us. This line reflects a shift in her perception during her journey with death. Initially, she describes passing the setting sun, but then corrects herself, realizing that it was the sun that passed them. This change in perspective signifies a transition from the temporal world to a timeless existence, highlighting her movement beyond the constraints of earthly life. And then says, the dews drew quivering and chill. This line describes the evening dew becoming cold and causing a shivering sensation. This occurs as she continues her carriage journey with death. As you know, death is personified as a polite gentleman. The chill of the dew signifies the onset of night, symbolizing the transition from life to death. It reflects the speaker's movement from the warmth of life to the coldness associated with the grave. For only gossamer, my gown, it means that she realizes that as night falls and the temperature drops, her gossamer gown is insufficient to protect her from the cold. This delicate and airy clothing symbolizes her unpreparedness for the chill associated with death. The thinness of the gown emphasizes the vulnerability and fragility of life as she transitions from the warmth of life to the coldness of the grave. Here the word gossamer refers to something extremely light, thin, and delicate, like a spider's web. And then says, my tippet, only tool. In this line, she describes her clothing as they journey with death. A tippet is a scarf or shawl, and tulle is a thin, delicate fabric often used for veils or lightweight garments. The phrase, only tool, suggests that her clothing is insubstantial and inadequate for the cold, emphasizing their vulnerability and the transition from life to death. We pause before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. It means that she and Death pause before a house during their journey. This house is not an ordinary home, but a metaphor for the speaker's final resting place, a grave. The description of the house as a swelling of the ground suggests that it is a burial mound, emphasizing the transition from life to death. You could say that both of them reached a place where there was a house which was swelling from the ground. As you know, that swelling from the ground refers to the burial mound, and then says, the roof was scarcely visible. The barely visible roof implies that the house is mostly underground, emphasizing its nature as a burial site. This imagery conveys the idea of being laid to rest beneath the earth. The cornice in the ground. As you know, a cornice refers to is an ornamental molding around the ceiling. Actually, its position in the ground reinforces the imagery of a grave, blending architectural elements with burial imagery. Since then, 'tis centuries, and yet feels shorter than the day. These lines convey her experience of time after death. Although many centuries have passed since her death, this vast period feels shorter than a single day to her. This suggests that in the afterlife, time is perceived differently, highlighting the poem's theme of death as a gentle transition into an eternal existence. I first surmised the horses' heads were toward eternity. In these lines, she reflects on her journey with death, personified as a polite suitor who has taken her on a carriage ride. As they travel together, she realizes that the carriage's destination is eternity. The horses' heads represent the forward motion of the carriage, guiding her toward this eternal realm. This moment signifies her understanding that her encounter with death is not an end, but a transition into an everlasting existence. Through this imagery, Dickinson portrays death not as something to fear, but as a gentle journey leading to immortality. The poem invites readers to reconsider their perceptions of death, viewing it as a natural and serene passage rather than a sudden or frightening event. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture, but please like and subscribe the channel. Thank you.